I'm ready to install my lower control arms and my upper front control arms, and I just took everything out of the packaging. I installed one right here. Just wanted to show you. Make sure when you install it that this hole here is for the sway bar. So the sway bar attaches right over here, comes around and attaches to that part of your lower control arm. So I just wanted to show you this part here. It was a little difficult getting it in because this is new. So I had to install this bolt here, which gave me a hard time. There's a little space right here, but you can't really see it. Once I tighten the bolt down over here to 75 foot-pounds, it should pull that in. I just wanted to show you what this looks like under here. So again, I just have to torque these down to 75 foot-pounds and it is golden. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. I am gonna install the passenger side control arm right there next. So once I have that up and installed, again, have to make sure that this hole in the lower control arm is facing the front of the car. That is the front. Okay, so and then this here is the upper control arm, and you have a little arrow. See if I can get it in there, right there, facing the front of the car. So that way you know this is the passenger side, and this one here, the arrow facing the front, is the driver's side. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to turn the camera off, and I am going to show you what it looks like when the other lower control arm is in place. So let me get started. If you have any questions, leave them below. Get back to you as soon as I can. I wanted to show you, this is very difficult to get in, I guess because the fact is it's an aftermarket and everything's super tight. I got my frame powder coated, so it's kind of hard to get in there and get it up. So in order for me, I'm working by myself, I had to use a strap here to hold it, to keep it from moving on me. And I used my jack right here to lift it up and to fit it inside the pocket where the control arm goes. So everything's in place. So now the only thing I have to do is slide a bolt through it. So let me show you. See, there's the hole lining up right there. And once I get that in place, and so is the other one back there, I slid the bolts through. So now the only thing I have to do is tap them in there. And I've been using a rubber mallet just to make sure everything lines up. In case you're wondering, I don't want to mar anything because everything looks really nice and sharp here. Bolts are in. The lower control arm is installed. Okay, well, if you look right here, there's an F. So that's telling you facing front. That's another way to know exactly which way this goes. But the dead giveaway is this hole for your front sway bar. So, okay, I'll be right back. Ready to install the upper control arms. And like I mentioned before, there's a little arrow which indicate it goes to the front. So this goes in there like this, okay? The only thing that I did not know is that they ask you to use, I don't want to drop it, they ask you to use the original bolts to your upper control arms, and mine were kind of beat up, so I decided to buy new ones. So I had to wait for these to come in. So these are OEM bolts that I ordered, and what you end up doing is you would install it like this, okay? All right, and the other thing is they give you these spacers here They're about 3/8 oblong spacers. They go on the inside in here, and they fit in the inside the control arm. Okay, so you just line them up and put them in there, and everything fits in nicely. Okay, and then you install your bolt just temporarily so they don't fall out and move around on you. Okay, so just wanted to show you that. Then I'm going to do the other side. The other thing I have to do is I have to install the ball joint, which is right here. They give you all the nuts for it. Here, let me show you. Oh, right here and right here. This is the ball joint. So you have all the nuts that go with the cotter pin for installing it. So I'm gonna install this, and I'm gonna be right back. So once I put this all together, I just want you to have an idea of how it goes. So let me put this together, and I'll be right back. Okay? I just got done putting in the ball joint nuts. Then I have to use, what I ended up putting in here is the lock nut and the aluminum T-washer, which is, this is what they're calling the aluminum T-washer. Okay, goes in here like this with the lock nut, and then that goes on like that. Now I'm going to bring you down here and show you everything that I did. There's one more thing that you have to do, is you have to drill the frame hole when you install your coilovers. They won't fit in the frame, so you have to drill it 3/4 of an inch. But I'm going to get back to that in a second. These spacers here, let me show you. These spacers here are caster slugs, they're called. And if you need to adjust, the caster front to back, you have to purchase these separately. I don't know why they don't give them to you when you purchase the kit, but I guess sometimes you don't need them, I'm assuming. I don't know, but these are centered, so that means it's right on the money, so it's centered exactly where it's supposed to be. So if you do have a problem, you have to order these separately from RideTech, just so you know. But I'm going to bring you down here and show you everything, what I did, and go over everything real quick. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is the upper control arm. Like I said, I just put the bolt joints on these 4 bolts right here. So all I have to do now is tighten them up. This is the T-washer over here. So that goes on there like this, and then you tighten this down. They didn't give me any specs on tightening these. So what I am going to do is just make them snug for now and see if I could do some research. And if I find out what they get torqued down to, I will let you know. And then these are the upper control arm bolts right here. Let me go on the other side and show you. Okay. Now these are the upper control arm bolts right here, and they're set up in the center, so you could see it's perfectly centered. So if you need to move it 1/8 of an inch, you would have to buy these aluminum spacers from RideTech. This is the spacer that I'm referring to. I have to do the other side. So right there, it's on the money. Here's the arrow pointing towards the front of the car. And I just got done installing the ball joint, and I have to put the grease fitting in there, set that up. So once I finish this up over here, I'm going to install the other side, and I'll give you a full view on how it's done. This is the shock hole that I was referring to that needs to be drilled 3/4 of an inch. Using a step drill would be the best way to do it. But I'm going to show you that when I do the coilover video. So I'm going to do the lower control arms in this video, which are right there. I have to torque them down. I wanted to show you the bottom ball joint is in. I just installed the upper ball joint, and when I do the other side, I'll give you a full view of what it looks like. I'll be right back. I just want to show you, I can't go any further in the video because I ordered these new upper control arm bolts, and the problem that I had is that for some reason I think that these threads are wrong. So I'm going to show you up close. See, you see that bolt? I just stripped it out using this nut. I forced it in there and I didn't realize I was stripping it. It was getting really tight. So I had to stop doing what I'm doing. Here is the other bolt. This one actually threaded in some, but then it gets super tight and it just ruins the bolt. So I have to order new ones. Hopefully I don't have that same problem. I don't want to use my old ones. I don't know if it's the nut, I don't know if it's the bolt, but there it is. I have to put this project on hold till I get new ones. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got my new bolts to come in. My new upper control arm bolts. So what I'm going to do, I already installed this one. You put the washer on that they gave you. I have come to realize the bolts that they use are pinch bolts. So the ones that they give you, they actually tear up the bolt. And then when you go to remove it, they're not made to be removed, obviously. But when you go to install your spacers, in case you need to do any of your adjustments, once you loosen it, you're going to strip it. So that means it's shot. So that's what I've come to find out. So what I did is I went to the hardware store and I purchased these metal lock washers. They're not as strong pinched as the one you get from the supplier for the carriage bolts. So what I'm going to do is, in case I do need to adjust it, I'm going to install one spacer here and one spacer there, and install the nut, and then I'm going to tighten down on it, just make it snug, because I will have to do some kind of adjustment here. And I don't want to loosen the bolt, the nut on the bolt, and then strip it and then have to go through this again when the car's built. So I replaced them with ones that I purchased at a local hardware store. And I'm not going to use the ones that come with it because they're pinched way too much. I'm going to see if I could find one for you and show you it. Okay, I want to show you. Wait for it to focus in. Focus, focus, focus. Anyway, right there, as you can see, it's pinched. So the bolt, the nut hole is actually oblong. You see that? And that's why it won't get loose when you go ahead and install these nuts. But the problem is they tear up the bolt. So let me tighten everything up and I'll get back to you in a second. All right. Everything's snugged up. I made sure when I need to loosen them I could adjust it. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is